Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Alyssa, and for today's video I am super excited because we are going to be talking about the infamous Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Vault collection. This just came into the mail for me yesterday and I was super excited to sit down and start talking with you guys about it, start playing with it, checking it out, because as you guys know, there was a lot of conversation happening around this collection, and well, I want to know what's up and I want to let you guys know what's up. So I'm super excited to do this. I'm going to go ahead and let you know now that I will be breaking this up into 4 separate videos, one for each of the palettes. I really want to be able to give you guys an in-depth tutorial and kind of like review on my thoughts and opinions and everything. And so I wouldn't get overwhelmed and forget anything. And honestly, I didn't want to sit here and do like 4 hours worth of makeup. So that's how I'm going to do this. I will be talking about the collection and everything about it in this video. And then in the very last one, giving you guys like my final thoughts and opinions and if I think it's worth it and all of that jazz. So yeah, today we are going to be utilizing the Armed and Gorgeous palette. So as soon as I'm done talking to you guys about it, we will get into this tutorial. I really hope you guys are excited for these videos. I'm excited to do them and check it out. So yeah, enough of me rambling. If you want to know what's good with the Vault collection as well as see how I got this makeup look, then let's just go ahead and get started. Okay you guys, so let's get to talking. This is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Vault collection. This is the box that comes in if you buy all 4. It has Morphe and Jaclyn Hill, her signature, in a beautiful silver thing. I like the confetti, and then it has different color confetti all the way around representing each individual palette. On the back, this is this really cute and fun picture of her, and I really like that they use this one because it seems like she's your best friend and not some like stiff kind of like work shot. I really think she looks beautiful on it, and I do like that. The little blurb around here talks about when she was creating the original Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette, that she could only use 35 shades. She created so many and had to narrow it down. And essentially the Vault collection is almost all the leftover or shades that she couldn't put into the original palette. So this is like an extension of the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill original palette. Now, you guys know that I love the original Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. This is mine. It is the one before they did the repackaging. It is an OG palette, and I love it. This is literal perfection. I have used every shade. There isn't a bad one in it. This is definitely my most used palette. I will link all the tutorials using this palette down below, so if you're interested you can check those out. But essentially the Vault had a lot to live up to with this being its bigger sibling. So this is where things get a little cute, as you guys know. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to kind of give you a little rundown real quick. So Morphe and Jaclyn Hill were set to launch the Vault collection about a month and a half, 2 months ago or something like that. And they got about as far as sending out PR. So when these bigger beauty influencers started getting their packages and kind of doing their reviews and everything, there was an abundance of negative views in comparison to positive reviews. So once Jaclyn Hill and Morphe got wind of this, and they were so confused because they were like, you know, our palettes are good. Jaclyn said her palette was beautiful and performed well. Her friends and family that had them were great. And they were so confused as to why people, you know, weren't doing well. And when they watched some of these influencers videos, they were like, oh my gosh, they aren't performing good. They're very dry, very patchy, not very pigmented. It was just kind of like crappy all the way around. So they decided as a unit that they were going to halt the like production of those palettes and pull the launch date. I think it is an exceptional thing that they decided to stop the production and find out what the problem was instead of trying to continue to sell crappy palettes, because people will buy these to support Jaclyn or to support Morphe. So it's nice that they decided to take that into consideration and try and figure out the problem. So they stopped the launch date and said they were going to launch them at some point in the future. Now with that being said, I assumed that these palettes would probably be launched probably closer to Christmas, and I was like, that's so exciting because originally, you guys, I didn't want these palettes. I was like, oh, I can kind of do without. It's really no big deal. But after all this happened and they pulled them, I was like, huh, well, that's awesome. But then less than like a month later, they said the palettes were going to be launched again. Somehow in like 30 days, they have found the problem, gotten rid of every old bulk collection, got rid of them, destroyed them, and they have remastered and made this one better, and it was set to launch a month from the pulled date. And when that happened, I was like, girl, I have now got to get my hands on these and see what's good, because I don't know how makeup production works, but I find it very, very odd that you were able to get rid of millions of palettes and in 30 days turn around and produce millions more, thousands more, however it may be. Big numbers, it's a lot of stuff. I'm like, unless you have really, really dedicated employees literally working around the clock, you pulled off some Houdini business. But I don't know, like I said, I don't work in the Morphe labs or wherever they do their eyeshadow pressing and creations or whatever, so I can't say. I just think it's a little funny that it happened so quickly, and a lot of other people do too. But anyways, Jaclyn and Morphe assured everybody that these palettes are brand new. Every one of the old batch was destroyed, completely gone. They didn't even reuse like the boxes it came in, the pans, nothing. Everything is brand new. So with that being said, people are now still having some bad experience with the vault. Now there has been a couple things going on. People saying like some of their boxes have like V2 written on them for like what they feel like is called version 2 of the vault, while some of the other ones in the same bundle don't have that written on there. I again don't know anything about that. Jaclyn said that it is something to do with like processing of the box, like the container it comes in. Other people find that very suspicious. I, however, personally don't feel the need to doubt her. Like, if she says they got rid of everything else, even though I find it odd they did it so quickly, I'm gonna have to believe what she says. I mean, you guys know, if someone's lying, it'll always eventually come out. But for now, I really don't have a reason not to believe what she's saying. I know my boxes do not say V2 on it, so yep, there's that, in case you guys are wondering if that's like something you're interested in knowing. But yeah, you guys, so that's pretty much kind of all the tea on that. People are still kind of having some mixed reviews on these palettes, saying they're not as great as the original ones, or as good as Jaclyn and Morphe claim them to be. So this is why I got it, because I want to use each and every one of them. I want to go through and I want to talk to you guys about the eyeshadows. I want to break it down and see what's good, if I think it's worth your money or not. So as a whole, if you buy the entire collection like this, you open up this box, and when you dump it out, it comes in like a little bookshelf type of thing. It has little tabs so you can pull them out, and all 4 palettes are lined up in there. I do like the box that it comes in. I think that's handy for whether or not you want to like sit it on your desktop or whatever. I probably won't end up keeping it, but it is nice overall. If you buy this in a bundle, the bundle itself is $49. If you buy it from a Morphe source, so like after I bought mine from like online at Morphe, I used a Morphe code obviously, and paid for shipping, it came out to $50.03 for me. So it does save you a little bit of money, because you can buy them individually for $15. So yeah, I bought it online. I do know you can buy it in Morphe stores and online at Morphe, and you can buy it in Ulta. Ulta does not sell it in the full collection, so you do have to buy them individually. I think that is a very smart thing to do, especially if you're not interested in all 4 and you just want to pick up 1 or 2. That way you're not buying them all, or you're not paying for shipping. The last thing I want to talk about real quick, when you're looking at the packaging, I do know I want to mention this because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter kind of saying something about it. The packaging is very, very, very similar to the Becca collab with Jaclyn Hill. A lot of people are saying they don't know if some of the launch stuff or funny business happening and halting the stuff had to do with the fact that the palettes are bad and they wanted to fix them, or because if Morphe is in a lawsuit with Becca over packaging details. Now, because this is a collab with Jaclyn Hill, I don't know if Jaclyn has the right to this design and can kind of use to her discretion, or if this is primarily a Becca design and Morphe just kind of went with it. I don't know all the details about that, but I wanted to mention because I think that is something to think about. So before we get into the tutorial, I want you guys to talk to me in the comments. I want to mention this now. I want to know your thoughts, opinions, concerns, whatever they may be about this whole thing. The Vault, Jaclyn, Morphe, any of it. What you think. Are you going to buy this palette? Are you not going to buy these palettes? Which one's your favorite? All of that jazz. I want to know all that stuff down in the comment section below. I'm interested in what you guys have to say about this, as to the fact that there is a lot going on. So for today, for this look that we have on right here, I'm going to be using the Armed and Gorgeous palette. So at a closer look, when you look at one of these palettes, it has the same logo except it's not silvered out in the center. It has the confetti, and each palette has different colored little confetti around it. So this one has yellow, Ring the Alarm has orange, Dark Magic has blue, and Bling Boss has purple. I think that is a wonderful addition. I think that the small details like that do matter, and they make it very pleasing to the eye of the consumer. The palette also has the name written on the spine, and the glitter does continue over, as well as Morphe and Jaclyn Hill written on there. Again, very, very small detail, but I think it is absolutely amazing, especially if you set them up in your drawer. Like I kind of stack mine like side by side like this, and it's so nice to be able to read and know what you're reaching for and not have to go in and open up every one of them, especially since there are 4 and they're all very similar. So I think that attention to detail is absolutely amazing. Now, jumping into this palette, this is very much the warm tone fall colors. They're kind of like my go-to jams. I think this looks absolutely beautiful. I'm very excited to try it out. So I'm going to go ahead and do some swatching real quick for you guys, and that way you can get a better idea of how the shades look. Okay, you guys, so these are the swatches of the palette. As you guys can tell, the mattes do swatch kind of patchy, and they're not as vibrant as you would kind of maybe hope. And the shimmers do swatch really, really beautifully, especially this one up here. I think it's absolutely stunning. So for me, swatches don't actually mean that much. I just wanted to give you an overview of each individual shade. To me, it's all about how it performs on the eye, but I know some people are very, very picky when it comes to swatches as well, so I wanted to show you guys. But yeah, without any further ado, because I think I've broken down everything I need to, let's just go ahead and jump into the tutorial using this palette. Okay guys, so starting off, I'm going to dip into the shade Access up here, which is kind of like a mustardy yellow looking color, and I'm going to use an E40 blending brush, and I'm just going to kind of start placing this on the upper portion of my crease. I'm going to really blow this out, as you can see by this eye, so the shadow is going to go up much closer to my eyebrow than what I normally do. And I will say I found that this particular shade did take me a bit to kind of build up the color to what I was looking for. And I will say that it is much more vibrant on camera than it is in person. And it's definitely coming off a lot more yellow on camera, whereas in person it's kind of got like that mustardy, slightly orangey kind of an undertone, if you will. Next, I'm going to dip into this shade right here, which is called Secure, and it's it looks kind of like this shade Agent over here, which I'll be using next, but this one has more of like an orange tangerine-esque undertone. So I'm going to use an M441 brush, and I am going to place this below the shade we just put down. I'm going to take the shade Agent over here, which, like I said, is similar to Secure, but Agent is more like brown in undertone. I'm going to take this on an M443 brush, and I'm just going to deepen kind of directly into the crease with this shade. And it is totally okay that you get a bunch of stuff on the lid here because, as you can see, we're going to be covering it up soon anyways. So just make sure you're keeping this shade nice and low. And then now I'm just going to go back with that M441 brush and just a little bit of that Secure color and just kind of blend that out. And then again with the E40 and the shade Access, the very first color we used, and just kind of put that on top. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with the deepest shade in the palette called Prowl. It's like a really deep brown with like kind of purpley undertones. It's a really pretty shade. I'm going to use a Morphe G10 brush. It's like a little packer brush, and this is what I'm going to put it on with. This is kind of where I had to start kind of finagling things a little bit upon packing these darker shades on. You're really going to want to take your time here so you don't put too much on at once and you really focus on blending it out, because all of a sudden you'll go from a really nice, pretty folly looking eye to looking like you got punched in the face. So I'm going to focus this on the inner and outer corner. So to blend this out, I'm going to use a Morphe M506. Okay, so now using that same brush, I'm going to flip it over, and on the other side, I'm going to start packing on this shade right here called Smooth Criminal. This is like a chocolatey brown kind of a shade, and I'm going to start packing this on in between the area where I have nothing and the dark area. This is going to kind of help me transition into my shimmers in a minute. So I'm just going to do the same thing, packing it on and blending it out until I am satisfied with the color. So now that I've carved out the center, and I'm not even gonna lie, it looks a little janky. I feel like every time I go to carve out like something on my lid, it just never goes as planned, but either way, we're gonna power through, make it work. I'm gonna start adding on the shimmers now. So I'm just going in with like a little flat top brush, and I'm gonna start with this shade here on the end, which is called Classified. It's like a greenish gold shade, and I'm gonna start putting this right on the end between the brown and the center of the lid. I am going to spray it with Fix Plus. This shade, from what I can tell, definitely needs it. I always use Fix Plus on my shimmers though, but this one you absolutely have to use. Like there's nothing there if you don't use Fix Plus. And then before I move into the next shimmer, I'm going to take a little bit of the Smooth Criminal, and I'm just going to kind of blend that in with the Classified shade we just put down. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to use the same brush and just flip it over, and then I'm going to put Coin right next to the Classified shade, and then I'm going to go in the very center with Guilt Trip right here. So this is what we've got so far. I'm going to pop off camera and do my face makeup, and then I will come back and we will finish up the lower lash line. Okay guys, so let's just go ahead and finish this up. The only thing that you won't see me do here is that I did add a thin line of black eyeliner to the top, and I also tight lined with a black liner. And then these eyelashes are the Velour lashes in Girl You Crazy. All other makeup products, everything on my face will be listed down below, so if you're curious or you just want to know, it will be there, so check there for all that information. But let's just go ahead and finish this up. I'm going to go ahead and line my lower waterline, Lord have mercy, with this MAC Costa Riche eye pencil. I will do my best to stay in frame for this, but we will see. I'm going to kind of take it and like smudge it down a little bit, if that makes any sense. Just kind of bring it a little bit lower. So now I'm going to go ahead and dip into this shade right here, which is called Top Secret. It's this like olive green shade. It is really, really pretty, and I'm going on another M506 brush, and I'm just going to kind of swoop this underneath the lower lash line. Take a Morphe M432 definer brush, and I'm going to take that Prowl shade, so the deepest shade in the palette, and I'm going to stamp this as close as I can to my lashes. And then going back in with the brush we used for the green shade and not adding additional product, and just kind of blending this all out. And now I'm literally just going to swirl that brush off, and I'm going to take a mixture of Secure and Agent and buff the green shade out. And then as well as taking a little bit of that access shade, so the yellow, and doing the same thing. And then I'm going to just highlight my brow bone with the Anastasia and Amrezy highlighter. And so taking a pencil brush to finish up, I'm going to use this shade up here called VIP, which is a really vibrant, shiny white shade. And I'm going to pop that in my inner corner. And this shade really does not need Fix Plus, surprisingly. Okay, you guys, so this is the completed makeup look using the Armed and Gorgeous palette from Jaclyn Hill's Vault collection. I do like the way that the look turned out. I think it is very, very pretty. I did manage to use every single shade in the eyeshadow palette, which I surprised myself with, but I'm kind of happy I did because now I have a full taste of the entire thing. You guys know these are like my favorite colors to use. The warm kind of fall tones, the very neutral ones that are absolutely easy to play with, which is why I did this look first, just to kind of get like an easy kind of neutral one out of the way. But yeah, you guys, overall, let's just go ahead and break this down. With the Armed and Gorgeous palette, I do really, really like the layout of this. Obviously because they're my favorite colors to use. In this palette, I will say that the mattes outperformed the shimmers, in my opinion anyways, tenfold. The mattes were absolutely beautiful. The only one I had kind of like to work a little bit more with was Prowl, but I kind of assumed that because it's a darker shade and I used it in such small areas. I will know later on in the future if I have to put it more so all over, if it's more of a area thing or a shadow thing. It wasn't anything that I couldn't handle. I just wanted to make note of that. Access, Secure, and Top Secret were my favorite mattes. They were absolutely beautiful. These two blended out like a freaking dream and meshed so well together. And honestly, I was really, really nervous about the green shade in this palette because there was such negativity towards the greens in the first batch of the vaults. So to have this perform as well as it did for me, I was very, very pleasantly surprised because it's very hard to find really nice and beautiful olive greens, and I love greens like that, I mean, obviously. So I really, really enjoyed that shade. VIP up here was the best shimmer out of this palette. As you can see, my inner corner highlight is absolutely beautiful, and I used No Fix Plus. These two right here were okay, but I definitely needed Fix Plus with them. The only one that was really a dud for me was Classified, and I'm not sure if it's because it's supposed to be more like a topper and just have like a thin layer of glitter or whatever, but there's really like no pigmentation. It's just kind of chunky glitter. I find that mine is pressed really, really hard into the pan, so I'm like digging it out and getting like nothing on the brush. So like I said, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be more of a topper, but if it's not, it's not really good. Like you can't even see it on my eye, and I used quite a bit of it, but overall, I do not think this palette was a bad palette. I'm glad because that makes me more excited to use the other ones and test them out for you guys. I would have been really, really upset if this one had have been totally shitty, because then I would have had to go through 3 more and been really bummed out. But overall, I don't think this palette was bad. I have a feeling this is probably going to be like most people's kind of favorite because it is the more neutral palette. But anyways, you guys, I really, really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and my thoughts on the Armed and Gorgeous palette. Please stay tuned because I will have another video tomorrow using another one of the palettes from the vault. I'm very, very excited to do this week, and I really hope that you guys are enjoying it and enjoying my breakdown of everything. If you do, and you are, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hopefully I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys. Okay guys, I wanted to pop back on real quick because I did the swatches like in the intro and I filmed my intro last, and I want to say I find it so funny that the shimmer swatched so pretty but didn't perform very good, and the mattes swatched kind of crappy and performed quite nice. I just want to let that sink in. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna sound off now because I'm tired and I still gotta take pictures of this look. But yeah, just wanted to let you know I thought that was interesting.